All right. Welcome to Fast Cars, Fast Girls. I'm your host, Abby Meyer, and this week we have with us the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mr. Doug Boles. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, this is our annual thing. I'm happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's our annual President's Day episode. I even laughed and thought I might title it The State of the Speedway because that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, it kind of does, but it's also good to catch up, and it also means that racing is just around the corner when we get to do this. So it's a good sign for all of us.
It is always a good sign. It is a good sign. So yeah, first episode of the season, kicking it off. So what do we have to look forward to with the Speedway this year? I mean, obviously we know we have the month of May and we have the Rev event back, which is very exciting.
Yeah, no, it is very exciting. It's a great way to kick the month of May off, the mini marathon that morning, and then rolling over here for those folks that want to have a drink after running a half marathon, or for those folks who slept in and decide they just want to skip to the drinking part. Yeah, it's a great way to kick things off. We just announced that Will Power is going to be the driver chairperson of the event, so that's pretty cool to have him involved, and it's a neat opportunity to raise some awareness for all the things that IU Health, which is our partner here, does throughout, not just here at the Speedway, but throughout the state to help make emergency services more accessible to folks, and and just the party itself is a lot of fun. But as we tape this, we're 110 days from 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. So pretty exciting stuff. We're hopeful that things continue to trend in the right direction, and we can have a traditional, normal 300,000 plus Indianapolis 500, and that's really what we're focused on right now. It's just getting things planned and ready to go for that. A lot of little stuff still going on here in terms of updates and upgrades, and doing a lot of things that people don't see. A lot of our electrical systems and things that have been around forever, just cleaning those up or replacing those so that they're more reliable, and working on the new BMW event center that people will get to see when they come in May on the north side of the racetrack. That'll be used for some BMW experience activities in the summer, but will be a hospitality location during our events here at the Speedway. So that's an exciting project. A lot of painting projects going on right now. So if you're in the Tower Terrace and you hide underneath the Tower Terrace when it's raining and you look up and remember seeing a lot of that rusty steel, a lot of that's getting cleaned up and painted and just sort of updated and upgraded. So a lot of just maintenance work really that we haven't done over the last several years that Roger's really directed us to do and helping us get done. So those are the exciting projects going on right now.
That is exciting. Well, and speaking of exciting things going on around the Speedway, you did some snowboarding the other day.
I love to snowboard. It's one of my favorite things to do. I usually, try and get out and at least get on the slopes out west one time a year. And just in 2017, I actually snowboarded around the road course as a little fun thing that we did here. And I got a call the night before the big snow came from Dave Calabro. Said, "Hey, you would happen to be snowboarding tomorrow, would you?" And I said, "Well, if the snow's deep enough, I absolutely will be snowboarding." So Dave came out, and Woody Woods, who most of our people wouldn't know the name, but you would know who Woody is. Woody drives the main sweeper truck during event time, is out there doing that, but is kind of the head of our maintenance staff, and has been here forever. And so we grabbed one of the Speedway trucks and threw a wakeboard rope on the back of the truck, and I got a chance to snowboard around the Speedway with Calabro and Taylor in the truck bed filming. So it was a lot of fun to get out. What they didn't see is nobody saw my turn 3 crash. So I pulled an Al Jr. Emma going into turn 3 and ended up on my face, which was kind of funny, but they didn't have any video on. It was interesting. It was so cold, and we were going 30 miles an hour or so, and with the snow coming off the back of the truck, I'd forgotten my goggles, so I was just wearing my glasses. So they're snow covered, and I was cutting from one side to the other, and the tracks that the truck was putting down, and turn 3 was relatively deep, and I just couldn't see it. And the front of my snowboard got caught in the outside, the outside rut, and put me down pretty quick. But got right back up and kept rolling. So that was fun. But it's really cool. It's cool to work here at the Speedway. It's cool to be at the Speedway in the middle of the night when nobody's here. And it's really cool to be at the Speedway on a snowboard when there's fresh snow on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's always, there's just something about any racetrack when you see it in like a different season that is just very cool, especially wintertime when there's snow down and yeah, there's just something cool about that.
Yeah, and we don't, we don't plow it and we don't put any salt on it. We let the snow just melt off naturally. So just getting out there, and it was depending on where we were. There are places in the track actually where it had blown off because of the drifting, but the front stretch was an awful lot of the front stretch was an awful lot of drifts. So that was pretty cool.
I bet. I bet. Well, funny story about Woody. I actually work with his daughter.
Oh my gosh, that is a funny story. Yeah,
Yeah.
Woody is a fantastic person. He's been here forever. He's one of those institutional knowledge guys, and like all of our fans, he's so passionate about this place and the traditions of this place, and really as a caretaker. So that's pretty cool. That is a small world, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It was too funny. So she texted me a screenshot of the story that Calabro did, and then she texted me a screenshot of her conversation with her dad, and she said, "Were you pulling Doug Boles around the Speedway today?"
He was.
And he just responds back, "Yes, I was."
Yeah, he's it's funny. He's really quiet. He doesn't want to be any of the limelight, and but he's just a great guy, and as fans. We all know one year, a few years ago, we got the newer sweeper truck that we have just for fun. We put like an Indycar driver, his American flag and his name on the side of the sweeper truck for him because he spends so much time in that sweeper truck in May. He just, we just really don't trust anybody like we trust him. He's not, he knows what's going on. He understands the closing rates of the cars, understands how to not make erratic moves, so the drivers can trust that he's going to stay out of their way. And but just a fantastic guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He sounds like it. But yeah, you're right. He does like to stay out of the limelight. I've tried to get him on the show a couple times and can't quite tie him down.
Yeah, he'd be a fun one though, because he's got great stories just of all the behind the scenes work and the prep work, and I mean he's just a fantastic guy, hard worker. You can usually count on in May. There's a handful of us that pretty much don't go home, and he's one of those guys that you can count on just about 24 hours a day. If you need Woody, he's somewhere on the grounds.
I believe that. Yeah, and he's been around for quite a while, so I'm sure he's got all the great stories.
He does.
So, well, excellent. But yeah, no, so back to Rev. Yeah, great event for the IU Health Foundation and trauma services and all that jazz. And then, of course, the Indy 500, well, after the Grand Prix, which is just one of the best races that we have on the schedule, honestly. I think it just gets a little overlooked because it's in May, but every year I tell people to come out and bring their families because it's the best way to see the Speedway.
Yeah, it's a great kickoff event, and you said it right. I think I tell people who haven't been, or they say, "Hey, where's the best seat in the house?" And it's one of those events where a GA ticket at some level is the best seat in the house because you can just wander from spectator mound to spectator mound, and you really kind of enjoy IndyCar racing the way that most markets outside of Indianapolis know IndyCar racing. They know it, for the street racing or the road courses in their community. Not so much. I mean, they obviously know the Indy 500, but just until 2014, if you were an IndyCar fan in Indianapolis, you likely were an IndyCar fan because of the oval, and that's really the only time you'd seen them in person. So having them run the road course here really gives people in this market anyway an opportunity to see the product that we export all over the rest of the United States from Indianapolis, and it is a lot of fun. The cars are fast and nimble, and it's just exciting to watch the way they run. So it does kick things off well. We always have liked it because it gave us that opening weekend where in the past it would just be a practice. Now it's an opening weekend where you're on network television to kick the month of May off, which we think helps, just remind people that the Indy 500 is right around the corner. And, obviously it's not the same kind of attendance level as the 500, but it's a fantastic event. And part of that is a good thing. If you want to come enjoy the Speedway without 300,000 people, this is a great way to do it and have a great time here at the track.
Absolutely, and that's what I always tell people. I'm like, if you want to go and there's areas of the Speedway that you've never gotten to on race day on, the day of the Indy 500, just because there's so many people and there's so much going on, it's a great weekend to come out and really get to explore and not have all the huge crowds. But yeah, no, the GA seats are definitely the best for that race.
Yeah, I
And
agree 100% with that.
yeah, and it really, I mean, it just gets overshadowed here, like you said, just because up until 2014, you're correct, most race fans here, it was the oval, but there's just great racing at that race every year. It's a great race every year.
It is a great race every year, and having Renus win it, having people that there tend to be people in the mix that aren't always, because the race is race is just played out that way. Jack Harvey had one of his best finishes in his career on the road course. Romain Grosjean having a
Absolutely.
chance last year. There's a lot of things that people really demonstrate who they are. Even Sebastian sitting on the pole the first race we had. I mean, that was sort of out of the blue. So pretty. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool event, and it's a great way to kick the month of May off. And then we have that track walk when the race is over, so fans can get out on the track and just really celebrate the Mays here.
Which is very cool. Very,
It
very
is
cool.
fun. It's funny. I mean, obviously, I know how important this place is to fans that come here, but the first year, spending time on the Yard of Bricks after the race with fans who'd never been down there before, especially on a race day. And the tears, and we had somebody that the year that it rained so badly, I can't remember what year that was, 2019, 2018. It's raining, and their couple comes out in their full-on wedding tux and dress, and with their the gal that was going to perform the ceremony for them, and we're standing out there in the rain and getting their name and trying to get their names up so we could light the pylon up for them last minute. It's
Aw.
those are the things that are that are really cool. And so for me, maybe the highlight of that day for me is getting to walk out on the racetrack in the Yard of Bricks and just talk to fans after the race and hear their stories about how they fell in love with the Speedway. I love meeting kids. I love it when families bring kids out and start introducing them to the Speedway. So just those little moments, I hope make an impression on young kids, that they start to fall in love with this place. Kind of like you and I fell in love with it, and so many of our other fans have fallen in love with it, and that that'll carry on into their adulthood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll have to remember what it was earlier, near the end of the summer, when there were kind of like back to back to back events at the Speedway.
Yep.
And I met a race fan just by happenstance in Pagoda Plaza who was from Kansas City and happened to be in town 3 weeks in a row for work. And because of like weather or different reasons, work got canceled and he got to spend time at the track every
Right.
single week that he was in Indy for work. He was like, this has been the best month of my life.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think people realize. I mean, you can be obviously people know the Indy 500 and they know we have a NASCAR race, and fewer people still aren't quite aware of even the IndyCar race in May, and the NASCAR doubleheader is such a great weekend. But what people don't realize is just how busy we have become here at the racetrack, with virtually something happening here every single weekend, really between the middle of April all the way up through the 1st of November. So this year we kick things off with we've got a Shell Eco Challenge that's going to take place here, which is kind of cool with universities competing. At the Speedway, we've got our IndyCar Oval Open test. We've got IndyCar Road Course testing. Roll into May, and then right out of May, we've got the 50th anniversary of the BMW M Series for like 6 or 7 days in early June. We got our SVRA Vintage race that comes back. We roll into the Battle of the Brickyard, USAC, a quarter midget racing weekend, and Ferrari Challenge. Then you're right back into NASCAR, and in between some of those days, we got all this new BMW experience taking place. We got a big Porsche event coming back again in September. Then another Porsche event at the end of September. Then the Indy 8-hour in October. It's really become a lot of fun. Chevy does a big Chevy Finding Roads program every year here. They're going to do it over a course of like 3 weeks in September, where consumers and dealers get a chance to come in and drive the new Chevrolet products on the track and in the skid pad. And so it's we'll be as busy, I think, as we've ever been in the Speedway's history in 2022 in terms of just pure days where the track is being activated with some sort of high performance activity.
Certainly sounds like it.
And it's really kind of fun. It's neat to see people who get here and get a chance to, experience being part of the Speedway. And something Rogers really wanted us to focus on is how do we continue to connect to those brands. So this year we'll, have significant connection with Chevy, obviously, with Ferrari, with Porsche, with BMW. We had a big Cadillac program that'll take place out here. In addition to all of the, Indycar testing, and then all of the sports car testing of folks that'll be testing to get ready for the Indy 8 hour. So, just a lot of activity. So it's you only have so much time that the weather's good in Indiana, so you got to take advantage of it.
That's the truth. That is the truth. Well, it feels like you guys are definitely taking advantage of pretty much every opportunity you can. I love it.
It's been a lot of fun. It's neat to have people out here, and we're a little selective. There are a lot of opportunities that we could do, and I loved hosting the SCCA runoffs. We did that for the second time in our history in September, this past September. But we're not an SCCA regional racetrack, so we're not going to host a regional SCCA or NASA event. It needs to be something that's sort of fitting of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway brand and that greatest, the greatest racetrack in the world kind of feeling. So there are things that we don't do, but we love events that connect us with the OEMs. That's a great thing when you've got the Chevys of the world and the BMWs and the Ferraris and the Porsches wanting to come, the Cadillacs wanting to come here and and show off their wares.
Absolutely. No, that is a great thing. All right, so looking forward to the season as a fan, what race outside of May are you most excited about?
Well, the one I think I love the most is the BC39. That to me, I'm a short tracker at heart, right? I so much love short track racing. It's so exciting. I love the passion that the teams and the drivers in short track have. You think about the number of nights and weekends that those guys run every year. So that to me probably is my second favorite event, and it's because of the short tracker in me, but also because of the message and what it means to be able to continue to help Brian Clausen's legacy continue. That's a really important thing, I think, for me. So that would be my second favorite. I do love the NASCAR weekend, especially now with the doubleheader and getting to have IndyCar and NASCAR on the same weekend and being really the only racetrack in the country that does that. I think that's a unique opportunity to get an IndyCar fan and a NASCAR fan to experience the others brands.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see the new Cup cars on the road course. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think the cars look fantastic. And I know there was a lot of talk after the Clash at the Coliseum, and a lot of people are on one side or the other. I honestly thought it was a fantastic event. I really give kudos to NASCAR for stepping out of the box and trying something really unique. I kind of like the heat races, the 4 heat races before the race better than I like the race itself, because that goes back to my short track or
certainly
where you got the the short track stuff. But so that would be really right behind the BC39. And then the other thing I love anytime anything's going on here and somebody new who's never been here comes here and they get that big old smile on their face when they walk in and they go, oh my gosh, this place is huge. I've seen it on TV, but I didn't know it was this big. So that to me that's what keeps me charged all year long, is just the smile on people's faces when they walk in the gates.
It is. It's awesome. It's awesome to be with a first timer.
100%.
You're right. Yeah, it is.
I love it when a first timer comes with somebody who's so passionate about it and can tell them the story and help them understand what they're seeing. Because I think that's really how we hook them. And that's why I love when parents bring kids, because those parents are going to hook those kids and they're going to be someday doing the same thing with their kids.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and I'll tell you, I mean, I grew up in Speedway, and then one of the other things was one of my mom's best friends, her mom worked at the museum. And so my mom would bring us to the museum after school all the time because it was just easy, and we were super into looking at the cars and watching the same video. And
Yeah,
but
the museum is the caretaker of our history, really, because it's got those cars. It's still,
it is. And
they're getting ready to go through a
speaking of
huge.
improvements, yeah.
Yeah, they're separate from us. I actually sit on the board, which is kind of nice to have that Speedway voice on the board. But they have great new leadership with Joe Hale over there, and Rob Dyson is the chairman of the board. But Bobby Rahall's on the board, Scott Borchetta is on the board. I mean, you just have some really passionate people who are invested in the motorsport industry even still today, who want to see it. Really want to see it change. Chuck Jones, who's really passionate about the history of the sport and is a car collector, but also a car collector who runs the cars, which I love even more, right? That they're passionate enough about it to get out and run those cars. So you have this really great group of people on the board and at the foundation who are going to do some great things with the museum over the next course, 3 to 5 years. So we're looking forward to the change and sort of just the next step. The museum really hadn't changed since it was built in the middle of the 70s, right? So to get it moved into modern times, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so too. I think it's gonna some of the changes just sound too cool. I think it's gonna end up feeling like the museum at Barber, where you're just like, okay, this is a museum fitting of this place.
100%. I know a lot of the board members have been to the Barber Museum to kind of see it and get a feel for how it works and what makes it special. And there's not a collection, certainly not an Indycar collection like the collection that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum has, and the stories that all those cars can tell, and that the museum is trying to get themselves prepared to tell in a different way and in a compelling way that satisfies a hardcore fan like me or somebody else that's been around for a long time and cares about our history, but at the same time is captivating to that casual observer who's just in Indianapolis for a convention and feels like they have to come here, or whether it's a group of kids, fourth grade students that have come down on a field trip. So they're trying to really figure out how to balance that, and I think they're going in a good direction.
I think so too. Yeah, that's very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah, I'm with you on the BC39, by the way. I absolutely love that event. For some reason, I have had the poor luck of having to work the last couple of years. So I end up showing up late, which my funny story from this year's BC39 is that I show up late and I park, and there's a couple of yellow shirts with a golf cart near where I park, and they watch me get into the back of my van, and I'm like getting all my, I'm like, am I going to bring the camera? Am I just going to use my phone? Am I going to, and I'm grabbing all my race stuff, my, earplugs. I'm grabbing my scarf, my bandana for my face for the mud and all that jazz, but I'm in scrubs. And so I come out and I've got like the media stuff. And they're like, oh, are you working? Do you need a ride? And I was like, yeah, I am. And then it hits me halfway through. I'm like, they didn't even see my media. They didn't ask for my media stuff. I'm like, they think that I'm working as a nurse.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah.
I'm like, they 100% just saw me in scrubs and they were like, oh, she must be working. I was like, I am working, but not like that. But I will still take the ride. Thank you.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, good. At least they were helpful. That's the important thing.
They're always helpful. They're always helpful. I never have a bad experience with a yellow shirt.
It's funny. The core group of our yellow shirt, the people that work more than just the Indy 500 race day, there's about 450 of them that are what we would call our core. A guy named David Leatherman here on staff really manages that whole group of folks and goes out and recruits, and we figure out things to do to thank them, whether it's they get paid, but they don't get paid a lot. So we'll do, special lunches and dinners and award recognition things and stuff here. But that 450 people that work basically all year round in events here are the best ambassadors of our sport that you could have. And I know that there was a period of time where the yellow shirts had the reputation of just saying no and blowing their whistles and moving you around. And there's still a little bit of that because they're trying to keep you from getting run over. So they're trying to keep you safe as well. But they view their jobs as helping you have a great time at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I love the way that culture has changed over the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Although I will say I haven't had any negative experiences even prior to that. I know when I hear a whistle to keep my head on a swivel, look around.
Yep. Yep.
Um, there's somebody coming around somewhere in a vehicle. But yeah, no, the yellow shirts are just fantastic, and um, I feel like they also can help make a first timers event just spectacular because, well, for instance, in Pagoda Plaza, there's Napoleon, who is, it's like he's running for mayor. He's everybody's friend.
Yeah, he is amazing. He's just a great guy.
Oh, and just greets everybody. I mean, you got any questions, he'll answer them, but you're going to get a story as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But yeah, no, great group of yellow shirts. So yeah, you're going to have more names. I say with all the additional events, you're going to have to make some more flashcards.
Yeah, it is it's true. That's the secret, right? I get a little it's cheat sheet, if you will, of pictures and names. It's like a PowerPoint deck, right? It's a whole bunch of sheets put together, and then I try my best to memorize as many of the names as I can and get a chance to say hello to everybody. And it takes me a little while sometimes. Especially if I'm not seeing, like Napoleon, you see all the time, right? So he's one of the ones that's easy. And a lot of the folks in that Pagoda Plaza area and along Gas Alley, I mean, where you're seeing them multiple times a day, it makes it easier. But when it's like, somebody out in, one of the stands, we had a great guy named Mark who handles one of our stands who I've gotten to know pretty well. And you start to get to know those names. That's when it gets a little harder. And then race day, when I'm out walking around, it's really hard because that's the day that we have some of our yellow shirts. Those days only work race day, right? And so yeah. It's difficult to know them all. But it's I think they know whether I know their name or not. I really appreciate what they do, and I know that our fans do too. And so I love to go out and thank them, and they're really good about telling me too if there's ways we can do things better, which I love. I love the fact that people are comfortable enough to say, hey, you know what, this doesn't make sense the way we're doing X, Y, and Z. What if we did it this way? And usually the troops out there that are doing the work know an awful lot better about making the customer experience improved than the guy sitting in the office at 16th and Georgetown.
That is true. They do see it from the fan perspective. So, that's just great that you've got an organization built where they do feel comfortable to speak up and offer suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I say it's awesome. Awesome when you work in a place like that. So, all right. Well, I will not take up any more of your time. I know that you were a very busy man as the president. Let's see. I will ask for Indycar. Who do you think is going to be the rookie to watch this year?
Man, I don't know. I'd be interested to see how Kirkwood does. I think that'll be an exciting one. Just to see how he continues to move forward. It's been amazing the number of really good drivers who've come out of the Indy Lights series.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be good. I'm hopeful that love for AJ's team to get a little more competitive and start running to the front. I think it'd be great for our sport if we can have that happen. And
absolutely.
Sort of our iconic figure, AJ, our 4-time winner who, there's obviously never be another AJ Foyt, and it's just love to see that team in victory lane again sometime soon. Oh, and by the way, we did get a chance post 500 to get the 4-time winners in, and we spent a day and a half really doing video and photos and interviews. And so this spring, one of the things I can't wait for this spring is we'll start rolling a lot of that content out for our fans to see. And especially now that we've lost Al Sr., I'm just really excited that all of that, we were able to capture all of that. The 4 of them interacting together, talking about what it means to be 4-time winners. What's it like to, after almost 30 years, to welcome a new 4-time winner to the club and Elio's Drive for 5. I keep telling people, so Elio's, Drive for 5, we did a little bit of an interview after the day and a half where the 4 of them were together. And somebody asked a question about, how excited are you to compete for 5? And Elliot was talking about, I can't wait. I want to be a first 5-time winner. Rick Mears spoke up. He said, no, you don't. That's a lonely club. So it's kind of funny. It'll be interesting to see as fans, that I'm excited for Elio, but there's part of me that thinks, man, I don't know. I'm pretty good with 4-time winners. Do we really need a 5-time winner? So
it would be wild.
It would definitely be wild, and this place would erupt for sure if that were to happen. But pretty cool to have a new, I don't mean this in the wrong way, but a new younger 4-time winner. So for that new generation that didn't get a chance to see the first 3 4-time winners win a race, now they have somebody that's sort of their AJ or their Rick Mears or their Al Unser Sr. That they're going to spend the next 30 or 40 years talking to their kids about. See that guy over there? I saw him win his fourth Indy 500. I think that's really important for the brand.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have seen him win all 4 of his wins.
It's pretty awesome, right? I mean, it is. I was sitting thinking about, for me, I missed AJ's first 3. I saw his 4th one. I missed Al Sr.'s first 2, but I saw all of Rick's, 2 of Al's, 1 of AJ's, and all 4 of Elio's. It's there are people in the grandstands though that have seen every single 4-time winner's wins. Since the first, AJ's first one in '61, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's very cool, and that just gotta love all that history at our track.
100%.
So very cool. I look forward to seeing that content come out. That should be great.
Yeah, it should be really fun. I can't wait. Should be a lot of fun.
Glad you guys got that. Well, Doug, thank you again. We've got an exciting rookie class to look forward to, and a very packed year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to look forward to. So if you don't have any plans on a weekend, head over to the track. Chances are there's definitely something going on.
Absolutely something going on. Even if we're not technically open to the public for events, obviously the museum's open and the parking lot's open and the spectator mounds in turn 2 are always open. So if you hear cars running at the Speedway and you're just looking for a fun afternoon of sitting on a blanket in the turn 2 mounds and just watching cars go by, there'll be a lot of days to do that this year.
Excellent. We look forward to it. All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.